Let's bring in licensed certified public accountant and Montclair State University accounting and finance professor Dan Geltrude live. You know, Dan, I read up on this. I know that the tech world has been investigating how AI could be used to detect all kinds of corporate fraud and spotting abnormalities or financial mismanagement. But how would it work to have the IRS be helped in detecting individuals who aren't filing?
It really wouldn't be that difficult, believe it or not. So let's start with this. The IRS's systems are very antiquated and have been for quite some time. And there's been a lot of discussion about how can the IRS get up to date and catch those people that are not paying their taxes the way they should be? So the answer, and by the way, the cheapest way to do this is through AI, because AI could take a massive amount of data, which the IRS has, and use algorithms and look at trends for where errors occur on tax returns and where fraud is likely to happen on a tax return. This has been used very effectively in Europe, and it seems as if this has a good chance of coming to the United States and the IRS using this format.
So is the proposal actually to use AI partly the IRS admitting they don't know who all is cheating the system?
Well, it's very, very difficult, right? Because there's so much information that the IRS has, and because their systems aren't up to date, they're relying a lot on humans. And we already know that we can't process information anywhere near as quickly as AI can. So it makes a lot of sense for the IRS to go in this direction. Plus, by the way, they were talking about hiring over 80,000 new employees. Where are we going to find all these people?
I would like to know the same thing. And just because you have AI, though, doesn't mean you're going to force people to pay, but it might be easier to track down those people's paychecks and their jobs and their addresses, like you're saying, with all that data. On the flip side, this year, a bipartisan group led by Senator Chuck Grassley is asking the IRS to warn taxpayers and tax preparers about this emerging threat of tax scams produced by none other than artificial intelligence and chatbots. So is this new technology a double-edged sword?
It absolutely is. Listen, anytime we're talking about AI, it's always two sides to the coin. It is extremely valuable. It can make our lives better. It can make businesses and government more efficient. That's great. But then we have people that are going to use these same types of technologies for nefarious purposes. So everything is a moving target. So as we advance with AI, we also have to think about what will the dangers be, including when the IRS is using AI. What happens if someone can hack into getting that information? So it can be dangerous.
And also phishing scams, where something looks like it's a legitimate message from the IRS about your taxes, but it's really a scam. What advice would you give to people who feel like a lot of this discussion is over their heads and they want to protect their privacy, but they also want to make sure that they're accountable? What would you tell us to do and be on the lookout for?
Well, look out for this. The IRS will not contact you via email. They're not going to call you. They send a letter. So if you receive a letter which you believe came from the IRS, my advice to you is take it to your accountant or your tax preparer and let them take a look at it. If you just get a letter from the IRS that says, please pay this amount, don't automatically pay it. Do a little due diligence before you do that.
Oh, my gosh, such good advice. You know, it kind of comforts me, Dan, that you're telling me that snail mail is still relevant, even in light of AI.
Yes, it is. Again, I don't know if you want to say the IRS is behind the times, but yes, they're still using snail mail.
No, it's secure. It's a lot more secure than a link to my cell phone that could be suspect. Dan Geltrude, thank you so much for joining us and great advice.